And obviously, we have to talk about ghosting and why exactly it happens. And I know it's such a jarring experience because you're always left wondering why? What was the reason? Because there's no way you're going to come into my life, seduce me, say I want to be with you, I love you, I want to marry you, and then drop from the face of the earth. Literally, you become dead to all communication. It's not right. It's actually a mental issue. But what are the reasons for ghosting somebody? Or why does that man that you like very much, that you thought was going to be the love of your life, why did he suddenly ghost you? And I think the most prominent one that I could think about is he just was not ready for commitment. Okay? Boy meets girl, things are going well, and in your head you're like, he is the one. Finally, I have searched this earth, I have suffered, I have met narcissist manipulators. He is the one, finally. And now you're happy, you're excited. But maybe you're a bit too excited and he can see that. You know, it's your second date and you're like, what will be the name of our children? He is freaked out. He's just not ready for that yet. But instead of communicating with you like a normal human being, this buffoon will simply disappear from the face of the earth. And it will leave you discombobulated. But beloved, it's not you, it's him. Okay? He could have communicated. He could have said, hey, we're going a bit fast. Like, let's pace ourselves. Let's see how this is going. Or he could have said, actually, I'm not interested in a relationship. I'm just interested in us bumping uglies. It is just that. Instead, they just ghost you. They will come back like after 6 months and say hi. But yeah.
Literally that Brandy Minor song, Aline block, Aline ghost, Aline cut me, honey. Just know. Sometimes it's not you. Sometimes it's him, and he has so many of you up in the air. So sometimes when he's juggling, one ball will drop. He's not gonna come and pick up this ball. He has to concentrate on the others that are on the juggle. You know, I think. Some men are horrible at multitasking when it comes especially to relationships. He just sees the newest, shiniest thing and he puts you in the back burner for a bit. You are on ice. You're put on ice for a bit. He plays around and fondles around with this one and then he gets tired. He's oh, I left this one on ice. Maybe it's time to get her out of the freezer. Takes you a little bit, you know, as this other one is being put on ice. It is what it is. Some people are like that. Some men are like that. They just don't know how to multitask the full way. If something more interesting comes up, they will just forget you for a bit and then they'll be back. And if you allow them to come back, they will keep doing that. It's just the reality of life.
Yeah. Or they could be dealing with something personal. It could be family issues. It could be finances. Sometimes when finances are not looking cute, even you, who are you attracted to when you can't, pay a bill here, or you're facing a financial crisis, or even it's their career, they're working on things, they need to get better at their job, they need to log in, they need to, cut down on the distractions. And as much as this is a very valid point of why someone could ghost you, it goes back to, would I have done the same in their situation? Because even us, we do get overwhelmed by things. Sometimes you get home and your bills are piling. And when you feel so overwhelmed, because you're a decent human being, you're going to reach out and say, hey, I am dealing with XYZ, and I cannot show up for you the way you'd expect me to, or the way that is fair for me to show up for you. So let's put a pause on this. But that's an ideal situation, okay? Not everyone is built that way. So another reason for ghosting is they could be dealing with some.
Another one that is very, very important is disrespect. And this goes across board. It cuts across, because if you feel disrespected by someone, it's very easy for you to just be like, oh, I need a minute, and not necessarily tell this person, oh, I need a minute. So you could have disrespected this person to the point where they're like, yeah, no, I need a moment, let me figure this out. And as they're figuring it out, it's basically them being quiet and not responding and just ghosting you, basically. So be mindful of stuff like that as well.
Or you gave in too easy. You know, there is such a thing as you gave in too easy. And you could say, but I'm an adult. We're both adults and we wanted this. But how do I explain this? Sometimes the plot is better than the destination. You know, the journey is better than the destination. And sometimes you get to the destination and realize, actually, I liked the journey more. But when you get to the destination quicker, you're like, okay, we're here, now what? It could be as simple as that. You gave up the goods too quickly, and now they're like, okay, all those moves that I had planned to do while I got to this destination, what shall I do with them now? You know, and yeah.
Dependence, ain't nobody like responsibility, baby. We're talking about emotional, we're talking about financial, we're talking about spiritual. Like whenever you thrust too much responsibility on someone and you become too dependent on this person, they're just like, yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. I need to, you know what? I am 30 something years old and I still feel like a child. And if someone was to give me responsibilities that I don't want, that even I haven't figured out, of course I'd be turned off by that. I don't want to be anyone's parent. I don't want to be anyone's financier. I don't want to be anyone's therapist. I don't want to do all of that stuff. So whenever you find that someone is becoming too dependent on you, you might just dippity dip. That could have been it. Were you too much in terms of, were you asking for too much from him in the form of finance and in the form of emotional dependency? And we're not talking about a person who's doing the bare basics. Like we're talking about when it's now too much, that every night you are sitting down till 3 a.m. talking about how your co-worker stressed you out at work. Every night, 2 nights in a row is cute. When it's every night, they're now holding your hand and trying to help you out through this process. It can be a lot. So now I will never sleep again. Is this the plan? Like I'm just never sleeping again? Think about it from those extremes, not necessarily just asking someone to, hey, I'm going through this thing and I need you to hear me out or talk to me or something like that. No, not periodic. We're talking about long, extended stances of dependency. Just know. Someone may just say, adios, mi amor.
Or they just feel suffocated. And I'm sure even you have experienced this, where you make a friend and by day 2 they're saying they're your best friend. Yeah. And they're just like, first of all, get off my schlong. You know, like personal space. I can smell your breath. Like, back off. And it's not just you who feels that way, other people do. And sometimes when it comes to dating dynamics, you need to be very aware of the fact that the same way you feel, the same way you experience life is the same way other people do. Yep. The same way you feel like somebody calling you 7 times is too much is the same other people do. It does not make sense for you to have a boyfriend and you update them of everything that's going on in your life throughout the day. It kind of, reminds me of the tweet where somebody said, when you're trying to get with a girl, they're so busy. But the minute they become your girlfriend, you wonder, what does this busybody do? Where did the busy go to? All of a sudden, they're in your business. They're always calling you. They're always texting you. They always want to be in your business. Like, what happened to the busy? Can you stay busy? Can you have a hobby? If you don't have a job, have a hobby. Start, crocheting. Zima simu saa zingine. Just stop nagging people because they're going to back off.
Yeah. Very easy and quickly to understand is this statement. They were only there for what they could gain. They were there for the money. They were there for the schmecks. They could have been there for the status. Now you've lost your status and they're like, ooh, I don't want to do none of this. Like the girl Fantana from Dubai. And what do you call it? The
young famous
Dubai Bling? No, Dubai Bling. There's a girl called Fantana. Mm-hmm. And her ex-husband, according to her, she says that she left her ex-husband because her ex-husband cheated. Mm-hmm. But according to him, he says that he went through a really rough financial patch and she didn't seem like she was too hell-bent on being part of that whole mess, right? Mm-hmm. So according to her, she just was there for the money. And when the money dried out, she decided to find her other options, which honestly, you get it. So this person says, I don't want to be with you anymore because if you're only here for the money, I also don't want to risk that another time something will happen financially, because life is what life is. Something will happen to me financially and you no longer want to be with me, you know? I've seen people dating others for their actual status. Like, this person is relevant, they are popping right now, and then suddenly, like, think about anyone who's become who was the guy that was the footballer that won there was a these what do you call them, lotteries. There's a guy who won the lottery, I think like 50 million or something. It was a huge amount of money. And we saw Huda Monroe doing what? Sliding, saying, hey, do you remember that time? Do you remember? Where's that guy now? Huda Monroe, is she interested in him anymore? No. There's some people who just are with you for that season. Not that Huda is a gold digger, and not that that story is 100% true. I don't know. It was all alleged. I'm just trying to put your mind there. So yeah, some people will be with you for money, others for status, others just for the bounce chicka wow wow, and they're out when they get what they want. So be mindful of that. It could just be that.
Or they could just be a very immature person, because who dips when they don't want to deal with something? I think I mentioned it earlier. If you feel something, communicate it. It's as simple as that. And people do have that difficulty communicating because, first of all, I don't want to hurt your feelings. So I'm just not going to deal with it. I'm going to dip so that I don't have to deal with it.
Yeah.
But when you dip, you're still hurting this person's feeling. When you become avoidant, you're still hurting this person's feeling. When you just shut down, and you're still hurting people's feelings. So just communicate. Stop being so immature. Because the other person, if they were put in in your shoes, they would not have done that, probably. You know, somebody who loves you would not have taken that route necessarily. So don't do it. And if they prove to be mature, don't take it upon yourself to fix them or to find the good in them. You know, just let them be, let them go. Some planet iko overpopulated. Hata hujaingia Tanzania usikie wanasema aje. Hujaingia Rwanda. Hata una passport. Anyway, that was our show today. I hope you loved it. But don't worry, we'll be back tomorrow. My name is Story Faye.
Yeah, live, learn, and let others live is the moral of the story. Until tomorrow, bye.